Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're heading somewhere pretty special, a place of dramatic landscapes and, well, ancient secrets, Big Bend National Park.
That's right.
And beyond just the amazing views, there's this incredible story in the rocks, and we're diving straight into the fossil discovery exhibit to, uncover some of that.
Exactly. Big Bend, it was set up back in '44 primarily to protect a key part of the Chihuahuan desert ecosystem.
Right.
But it also happens to hold this just extraordinary record of life from millions and millions of years ago.
So that's our focus today.
Yeah, our mission, if you like, is to explore this specific exhibit, understand its history, its significance, and hopefully bring that alive for you, our listeners.
For all the curious explorers out there.
Precisely. We'll see how this bit of Texas gives us a tangible link to a past that was incredibly different from what you see there today.
Okay, a fossil exhibit right in the middle of a desert. That contrast alone is pretty interesting. So, practically speaking, if you're visiting, where do you find this place?
It's actually quite easy to get to. The Fossil Discovery exhibit is located about 8 miles north of Panther Junction.
Panther Junction, that's the main hub, isn't it? Park HQ, Visitor Center.
Exactly. So it makes the exhibit pretty accessible while you're exploring the park, moving between areas.
And when you get there, what's it like? Is it just a quick pull-off or is it more substantial?
Oh, it's definitely designed for you to spend some time there. It's a fully wheelchair-accessible pavilion.
Okay.
And it's covered, which is nice in the desert sun, but it's open air.
Ah, so you still feel connected to the surrounding.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
It provides some comfort from the elements, but keeps you right there in the landscape where these amazing discoveries were actually made. It's really set up for learning for everyone.
That sounds really well thought out. So let's get to the heart of it. Why this exhibit? What makes it so significant in the context of Big Bend?
Well, its importance really comes from that direct link to the massive paleontological history of this whole region.
Right.
This area, it turns out, has been incredibly rich for fossil finds. We're talking a huge diversity of ancient life that thrived here way, way before the Chihuahuan Desert even existed.
Okay, see, that's where my mind goes. Ancient life. Dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Did T-Rex stomp around here?
Uh-huh. Well, the Big Bend region has actually produced some dinosaur fossils, which is cool in itself.
Okay.
But this particular exhibit, it mainly focuses on the Cenozoic era.
Cenozoic, that's after the dinosaurs, right?
Exactly. Think of it as the next big chapter, geologically speaking. The rise of mammals, birds, more modern-looking reptiles, flowering plants, that kind of thing.
So, less Jurassic Park, more? Well, what kind of world are we looking at?
Imagine landscapes changing dramatically over millions of years. You had periods with really lush, almost subtropical forests.
In Big Bend, wow.
Yeah, and big swampy areas too. Then, over time, things gradually shifted towards grasslands and eventually the more arid conditions we associate with the Chihuahuan Desert today.
And the fossils show this change.
That's precisely it. The fossils we find here, they document how life adapted or sometimes how it didn't adapt to these huge environmental shifts.
So what kind of creatures?
You might find evidence of early horses, much smaller than today's, creatures kind of like rhinoceroses, maybe some giant tortoises, various ancient relatives of crocodiles.
Okay, so a real mix.
A real mix. And what's really fascinating is piecing together the evolutionary story, seeing how these ancient forms relate or don't to the animals we see in the park now.
That's incredible. A world changing right under your feet, essentially.
Yeah.
So at the exhibit itself, how do they bring this to life? What are visitors actually seeing?
You're going to see actual fossils, real ones, found right in the park.
Not just casts.
Many are the real deal. They have some really impressive skeletal reconstructions, too, which give you a fantastic sense of the size of some of these animals. And then, fossilized bones, teeth fossilized really well. They're tough, and sometimes even delicate things like impressions of ancient leaves. And it's all presented with informative panels. Context is key, right? Telling you who these creatures were, when they lived, what their world was like.
Is it just looking? Or are there, interactive bits, ways to connect more?
Well, the sources don't detail specific high-tech interactives, but the whole setup is interactive in a way.
How so?
Just by being there, standing in that open-air pavilion, looking out at the actual landscape that held these fossils for millions of years. That creates a really powerful connection.
Yeah, I can see that. You're kind of in the field lab.
Pretty much. And the information provided, it's designed to spark your imagination, get you thinking about, The sheer scale of geological time and how these things even survive to be found. That whole process of fossilization.
Right. Being in the environment must make a huge difference. Now, you mentioned a walk up the hill nearby. What's the point of that little extra climb?
Ah, yes, that little hill next to the pavilion. It's definitely worth the short walk up.
Why is that?
It just gives you this fantastic perspective shift. You get up a bit higher, and suddenly you have this sweeping panoramic view.
Of the desert.
The whole expanse of the desert rolling out with the mountains off in the Chisos Mountains forming this really dramatic backdrop. It helps you appreciate the sheer scale of Big Bend.
Connects the exhibit to the wider landscape.
Exactly. And you can really contemplate the massive geological forces that shaped everything you're seeing. Plus, as the info points out, it's apparently a great spot for stargazing at night.
Oh, nice. Linking the deep time under your feet with the deep space above.
Beautifully put, yes. Ancient Earth, vast cosmos.
So let's connect the dots then. How does studying these, long extinct animals help us understand the Big Bend we see today? Why should someone interested in, say, the park's current wildlife care about these old bones?
That's such an important connection to make. The fossil record isn't just history, it's data. Invaluable data.
Data about what?
About how life in this specific region has responded to major environmental changes over immense timescales. Climate shifts, landscape alterations.
Things that are relevant now, too.
Very relevant. By seeing how ancient plants and animals adapted or failed to adapt, we gain these crucial insights into the resilience, maybe the vulnerabilities, of the Chihuahuan desert ecosystem today.
Interesting.
Especially, as it faces current ecological challenges like climate change. It's like a deep time ecological case study.
Reveals patterns.
Patterns of adaptation, extinction, survival, all of which can help inform how we approach conservation efforts right now.
So it's definitely not just about the past. It informs the present and maybe even the future. Really fascinating. Okay, if someone's fired up now and wants to see this exhibit, how easy is it to fit into a Big Bend trip?
Oh, it's very easy to incorporate. Like we said, it's near Panto Junction. You could easily fit it into a single day's plan.
Does it combine it with?
You could absolutely combine it with, say, a drive down the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive. That's the road that takes you towards Santa Elena Canyon. Lots of stunning viewpoints along the way.
Right, that's a classic Big Bend drive.
Totally. Or if you're maybe exploring the eastern side near Park HQ before heading up into the Chisos Mountains, the exhibit is a really convenient and super enriching stop.
Speaking of the Chisos Mountains,
Yeah.
people planning trips need to know about some upcoming changes there, right?
Yes, absolutely. This is important logistical info. The entire Chisos Basin area, that includes the lodge, the restaurant, the Basin Visitor Center, and a lot of popular trailheads up in the mountains, that whole area is scheduled to close.
Close, completely.
Yes, for about 2 years, starting in May of 2025. They're doing major construction, infrastructure improvements, rebuilding the lodge.
Okay, that's a big deal for planning.
Yeah.
But the fossil exhibit,
The fossil discovery exhibit is outside the Chisos Basin. It's down off the main road north of Panther Junction. So it will remain open and accessible throughout that Chisos closure period.
good to know. So you can still experience that piece of Big Bend history, even during the construction.
Definitely.
Okay, any final bits of advice for listeners thinking about a Big Bend adventure that includes the fossil exhibit?
Yeah, just a couple key things. First, always check the official Big Bend National Park website before you go.
For the latest updates.
Exactly. Current conditions, any unexpected closures, alerts, accessibility info. It's the go-to source. It'll help make sure your visit is smooth.
Makes sense.
And second, just remember, it is a desert out there, even if you're just popping into the exhibit. Carry plenty of water, wear sun protection, hats, appropriate shoes. Be really mindful of the heat, especially in the warmer months. Safety first.
Good reminders. Well, this has been a genuinely captivating journey back through, well, unimaginable spans of time.
It really is mind-boggling when you think about it.
To imagine that rugged desert holding such an incredibly rich history, just waiting under the surface, it's awe-inspiring. So maybe the thought to leave folks with is this. When you stand there at the fossil discovery exhibit, surrounded by the immense scale of Big Bend, consider that vastness of time represented by those fossils you're seeing. What does encountering these remnants, these echoes of entirely different ancient worlds, what does that tell you about the constant change on our planet and maybe about our own place in the incredible ongoing story of life?
That's a profound question. Really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Well, we really hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and maybe inspired you to plan your own trip to explore Big Bend National Park and its truly remarkable fossil discovery exhibit. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.